No slippers in public.
We're live. We're live. Hello, everybody. We are live. So here we are. I'm Ellie Walsh. Welcome to the Empowered Dreams Hangout. And our goal here is to empower you. So we believe when we come together and we share our experience, our knowledge, our strengths, and our hopes, really, that we can help guide you back to your power and our own power. You know, it's always this give and take. There's always this mastermind that goes on, as Napoleon Hill says, when more than two gather. So we have a chat below if you're at the page. If you have questions or just tell us hi, say hello, tell us where you're from. And we have a global panel. So I want to get into all of them and let everybody say hello. I will start with my left, which is Carol, far from me.
Hi, I'm Carol Makowski. I'm from upstate New York, and I'm at the other end of the house from Ellie.
All right.
We're both entrepreneurs in the online marketing business, as you can see, and I'm very eager to hear what Sydney has to discuss with us today.
Cool. And let me then go to Catherine. Catherine, say hi to us.
Hi, everybody. It's Catherine from Alameda, and it's wonderful to be here, and I can't wait until I hear what Sydney has to say. I'm a mom of two boys, and I love working online, and I love this team that I'm working on.
Cool. Great to have you here. And let me go to my global friend all the way at the other side of the world. And another day. It's already another day because we'll come to Sydney. She's going to go with us. So Terry Nicholson, say hello.
Hey, everyone. Great to be here. Yeah, it's early morning in Australia, Friday, and I've been up in the dawn, up in the the full moon going down, like as the sun was rising this morning. It's just far out. I just had one of those moments of how incredibly beautiful is this world. You know, we live in this amazingly beautiful world, and so, you know, for me, I love being able to jump on my laptop here and connect with people and have this online business and, you know, make an income from home in that way, and then get off the computer and really connect with this real world we live in. So, you know, I mean, that's why we do this, so that we can, you know, have time off, have time off working, you know. I just wanted to throw that in. It's just like, we live in such an amazing world, and, you know, what we do online here is creating that space where we actually can really live a fulfilling and joyful life in the real world. So anyway, over to Sydney. I'm really, really excited as well what you're going to share, and it's a really important topic. It's one that, can sustain us. So I'll pass it over. Good to be here.
Yes, wonderful. And yes, and we got Sydney with us. We're glad we were able to switch some times, and Sydney's now able to be live with us instead of in her car. Usually she used to be with us in her car. So now she's sitting down in her computer. And Sydney, you said your topic today is the power of hope. So
Yes.
Go for it and just let us know.
Well, that is my topic. My topic is the power of hope, and I wanted to open this panel to discuss some of the tactics and tips and tricks that people have had to sustain hope, because this had been on my mind a lot the past week or so, because I felt, after a long time of sort of shut off from the news, that I went on the world's most incredible roller coaster emotionally. And I realized other people had probably been trying to sustain their hope through a long process. As I too am in upstate New York, and I am an African American woman, and I'm a lesbian. So in the past 2 weeks, we've had the Supreme Court decision legalizing marriage for everyone around the country, which was a huge shift, and I heard from numerous people who talked about how they never thought they would live to see the day. And in the same week, there have been all these happenings in the South, the bombing of black churches, and just stuff that I remember being educated about as a child growing up in a civil rights family. And I'm like, really? Now? This was decades ago. So it felt like, as being part of a country that took like 10 steps forward and 10 steps back, all within like a 48-hour period. So that was what took me to the place of looking for things, looking for what is it that helps people sustain hope in situations where they feel life as they know it is not there. And I found in talking to people and in reading things, I found a wonderful sort of story on sustaining hope from Brendan Bouchard, who I don't know much about, but he's been talking about this and has written about this quite a bit. But the quote that stuck with me, that hope was akin to a power plant, that a power plant doesn't have energy, it transforms and generates energy. And in the same way, he said, we don't have hope. We transform the energy around us and generate hope, which gave me a lot to think about in terms of it opened the idea that whatever the situation was that you're in, that there was, I guess there was the fodder for there was the fodder for hope, sort of the fertilizer for the soil that could grow this. And I'm watching Ellie's face. There's something. I want to know what it is.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening.
I know, but I'm watching the wheels turning, I guess.
Well, my wheels are always turning, so don't let that scare you.
That so that there are the seeds of hope in any situation that you're in, and even in the horror that of what could be, and people not losing their humanity, and in other kinds of coming together that have grown out of what we're seeing as horrific circumstances. And I'm pausing because it just sort of threw up in the back of my mind I'm having trouble finding words for it. The idea, there's something in that from my own day. I came on here saying, I don't even know how I can talk about this because I'd had a day that's pushed every one of my buttons. And I really just wanted to take 3 or 4 people, lock them in a room, and smack them silly. So there's, I guess that's part of the, maybe that's the knowing what you don't want, helping you identify what you do want. You know? But that was my big takeaway about an idea of what hope is, and
Sydney, can I jump in?
Yes, please, because I so lost my
Um,
train of thought.
No, it's really, really awesome what you're sharing. And I love just how real you're being. It's really connecting for everyone, for us, for everyone who's watching. So I just wanted to reflect that back to you. But yeah, just that thing about generating, that hope is something you generate. And I mean, it's sort of so obvious, but so kind of, it's just such a revelation when you really take that on, because it's like, it's not like luck or, like, it's not like this, we think of hope as just this thing that just sits there that should just be there or something, and that's not sometimes don't see it as our job or responsibility to actually cultivate that, to be an active participant in creating hope, and just something, the way you said that really struck true, and I just wanted to sort of echo that again, that we're active participants in this experience of hope, and especially in really tough circumstances and things that happen, to still keep that thread of hope for the world, for humanity, thanks for bringing that up. It's really important.
Sure.
That's funny. I don't like the word.
I know.
I don't like the word hope. I realize that. Like, I don't like the word, not that I don't like it. This is semantics. To me, when I hear, you have to have hope, it almost sounds sad to me.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the opposite is hopeless, right? So and it brings hopeless up more for me than hope when you say that. Well, not with you, but when I hear that word, when I say that word, it's like I'm not a big user of the word gratitude. I prefer appreciation. Yeah. So it really is semantics here, of how you deal with that. I guess I don't talk much about hope, because there's been times in my life years ago where I don't know if I was hopeless, but I was on my way there, okay? And I was in depression land. I've been there, I've done that. And so I never ever let myself go there again. So I won't play in other people's garbage for too long. I'm not telling you I've never played in it. And I'm not telling you I never stick my fingers in it. But I don't play for too long, because to me, when you start doing that is when, God, then you do need hope, okay? Because some of this stuff, I mean, and I hear what you're talking about, but it's the same way of I have always tried not to let all that stuff that they said and they did, and whether the Supreme Court ruled this way or not, and whether New York allowed it, I just had to live my life. I had to be okay with me. I want other people to be okay, but I can't help them. So maybe that's talking about, I can't give you hope unless I'm living a life that you see hope in it, whether I call it or not hope. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's a lot of what was the big shift for me, in that idea of cultivating, being something that you cultivate yourself. In that, I know for a long time, hope was something I looked to be given, or to be able to give someone else. And this was it really impacted me. The idea was that it was not, was not something you could put in a box and give somebody for their birthday, but that in looking into it, and some of the ideas around sustaining that feeling of hopefulness, or and I guess it's a kind of positive energy towards the future, was something that those were tools that enabled other people to do it for themselves. And so I think that's part of what, like you said, Ellie, that what you could do is live a life that someone else could see in your living your life. They had the potential of seeing hope, seeing what could be, seeing possibility. I think that's also part of what's in it.
I like that word better.
Possibility, yes. Yeah. So, and I think that comes from that's true. And I realize I just came across one of a saying I've seen often, that, or some version of it, that if there's a single person alive in this world whose soul still burns with love, is hope. That in and of itself is hope. You know, where there's life, there's hope. Carol looks like she's pondering on something.
Well, I think that if you're looking at a situation that, or life circumstance, whatever, that is horrid, as you said, that trying to turn that around and generate some hope out of it is a step up. And I certainly agree that nobody can necessarily give that to you. You might, as you just said, see it in somebody else, and that might help you engender it in yourself. But I think it's a step up in some circumstances, and of course it's not a place where you want to spend the rest of your life in hope, because you want to get beyond that. As Abraham Hicks says, you want to move up the emotional scale and get into like belief is probably the next step up after hope, and then into other higher emotional states. But yeah, I don't see hope as a negative thing at all in certain circumstances.
For me, go ahead. Sorry. I just see it as that sort of the opposite side of the coin to feeling hopeless or despair, is that sense of hope or belief, or this sense of trust or something like that. So to me, that's how I just see it, as this other side of the coin that's just part of life, but that it's not a I really like that clarification. It's not something you can just give to someone in a box. It's something that you do connect with and generate inside yourself, and how you relate to the world. And whether you use that word hope or a different word, it's just that sense of possibility or belief or just trust to me. Yeah.
It has that, and I get and that it's part of a process, that it's a place you step through. It's not a place that you plant your roots. It's because it's anticipatory. It's not. It's on the way to, I guess, is that kind of feeling.
Really interesting conversation.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing all the different words now that we're coming up with.
Right.
That actually, you're talking about the same thing, because it is true. If you're staying in hope, that's a lower vibration. It's better than hopelessness. Okay, so you want to go up the scale,
right?
And belief or knowing or maybe possibility is even a higher word than hope. It's funny.
Yeah, hope can. I suppose it It is. In the way that I had been thinking of it before, I would think it was lower than possibility. As I started playing with this idea of it being something that you cultivate that you're not waiting to be that you're not waiting to be given it or waiting for something outside to happen to that to me was hopeful rather than possible. I guess when I was thinking about, when I became aware that I often felt that hope was something I looked for in other people, in that sense it wasn't mine. I was separated from it. I didn't have, it was a less powerful place for me to be, to have to get it from somewhere else. And in that sense, I would see that as I would see possibility as something that I always felt was something I had more of an active role in. And now with the idea of hope as something that is something to cultivate with and transform within myself, I feel more involved. And I just felt it now. I felt myself sit up taller. I felt, less waiting. And in fact, that was one of the things I had noted about tips for sustaining it, was remember your strengths and to maintain a perspective. Because at least for me personally, most of the time that I become hopeless, it's around the horrible thing that might happen. And somewhere on that tidal wave, I completely lose connection to might happen means it also might not happen. And either way, it's definitely not happening right here and right now. So that I don't have to fall in that rabbit hole. So I suppose that would also be another tip of stay in the right here, right now. What is there right here, right now? And the remembering the strengths. I'm not exactly the queen of that, but as I have committed and recommitted to being entitled to my own dreams and actually living them, I'm getting better at it. And the other was the other for me was patience. That I tend to, if I decide something, then I think it should all come together right now. That would be when the right here, right now doesn't always serve me. So those are my 3 biggies on how to sustain hope and maintain belief. And what is that old saying? Then rinse and repeat.
Cool, very cool.
Very provocative discussion that you started here. Makes you reach deep.
Yeah, I'm laughing. We're not always this deep when we get together, but this is all part of it. To be able to mastermind. I think that there's hope right within this group all the time.
All the time.
That's what's, really special here. Catherine, you've been quiet. You want to come out and talk to us at all?
She's smiling.
I'm just listening to all you. I don't really have much to say for now, but I just thought that you all had wonderful ideas, and I think it's good to have the hope within, the here and now, instead of always thinking about the future. You hope that something's going to happen because you never know. You don't know. So it's easier to stay in the now and think about things that are happening right now instead of what might happen. Because then you worry about all the things. Oh, what happens if the plane comes and drops on you or something? Because I worry about that a lot sometimes. I have worries that are like, fears that are out of proportion. So, and it's not good for me because then I worry too much. So it's good
what?
to do
She
it.
just summed this all up for me. I can't believe it.
Oh, good.
Because that, I think, is why I'm not, again, it's semantics. It's not that I'm
Right.
against hope, okay? It's just a word that for me, for some reason, and that's why, what Catherine just said, because to me, hope is about the future. And I need to find the hope constantly right here, right now. What's working right here, right now? What can I appreciate? That's why I like that word. What can I appreciate right now? And I don't care what you're in. I don't care what you're in. There's always something to appreciate. Always. I don't care how bad things are. There's always something to appreciate. So for me, it's that hope is about out here, and I have to find something right here, right now, to appreciate. For me,
Right.
and everybody's different. There's no right or wrong in here. But that's why it gives me. So thank you, Catherine. See that for speaking up.
Yeah, I
You
didn't.
cleared that up for me.
I didn't expect that to come out. It just came out.
See that? How cool that is.
Excellent.
Very cool.
Yeah, there's something about the patience, that patience that is a process to me. It's like, I just want to share one thing before you wrap up here. Like, for when I was thinking about, whether I was going to have kids or not, I remember, I grew up in an activist family that, it's like there's a fear that the world is just, we don't know if it's really going to be a livable planet, the way the way we're treating it. And so, there's this real sense of, my gosh, what would I do bringing children into this world? And there was actually this really sort of light bulb moment for me. It was like, well, to choose not to have children because of a fear that the world is just, going to not be a livable place, or a place, for my children or my grandchildren. That is like the essence of no hope. to choose not to, be part of this species continuing, for that reason, to me, it was like the essence of hopelessness for this unfolding life. And so, I don't know, I just remember, for me, hope, there was something really strong in that moment when I decided to have children, was around having hope for the future, and just sort of trust in the unfolding. And we don't know what it's going to look like. We've got no idea how this is all going to unfold. But for me, there's something to do with hope there. Yeah. And I just felt to share that. I'm not sure.
That's beautiful.
Well, that contributes.
I know this world is nothing like my mother thought was going to unfold when, she did the way the world looked, when she was little, 90 years ago, was, nothing like it is now. She never thought her grandchildren would be coming to her house and staring into those little boxes with those keyboards all the time. But yeah, that's That's really cool. And as somebody who's never wanted children, that was really a lovely way to put it. I put them in a whole other light for me. Thank you. I'm glad you're the one who has them, but thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got the chaos all right.
I have kitties for that.
So cool, very cool. You got some closing words for us, Sydney, because we're getting ready to.
Sure, just stay in the now.
And that I think that's stay in the now and find, like Catherine's the one who was saying, find something.
Yeah. Find something to
right
appreciate
here,
right now.
To appreciate. Because, I guess we've all been there in different places of like, oh, and how is it? And, I have a tendency, I don't know, maybe I'm like Lala, but I always think it's going to work out. Everything's going to be okay. I've always
So we know when we can't get out of that, we'll just call Ellie.
I'm like, it's all good. It's all good. It's going to work out. And you want to know what? I'm around a few years now, and so far everything has all worked out. So
yeah.
I just feel like it's all okay. There's all, Terry used those words before. There's all a process going on within life and within ourselves, and we're all in the process, because those are the three magic words. So if you're watching us live now, or you're watching this replay, and you have questions or you have comments that you want to share, what do you think about hope and the power of hope, and what do you do to sustain that, to not go down in the hopelessness area or that despair area? Certainly leave your comments here. Or ask you questions, because we check back in during the week as we go. We meet here every week on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and a whole nother day, I think 8 in the morning it is, right, Terry?
Yeah.
8 in the morning the next day in Oz. So we always want to know what kind of day it is. We just asked Terry how the next day is going to be for us. We are going to close down, because look, Sue's here now. She's going to talk to us about Periscope. So that's what we get to do. We get to close down here. We do keep each other hopeful. We're going to talk about Periscope because we mastermind. We're a team. We're all in business for our own selves, but not by ourselves. I think that's why we also have a lot of hope. And if you want to join us, there's a button right down here. So click that button or get in touch with the person who invited you here. We will see you next week. Everybody say bye.